The challenge when it comes to our health, when it comes to lifestyle, is that any change that we choose to make has to be a permanent change. Otherwise, the change itself is going to be temporary. You don't need a supplement that you would use temporary in order to get the result that you want. Because typically, our weight loss or our weight gain is the result of lifestyle changes that we make. What you have to find and what you have to decide for yourself is ultimately, what is it that I want from my body? What do I want it to do physically for me? And what do I want it to look like, ideally? Based on those two things is how you determine what your nutritional needs are. It has to be representative of what it is that you want for yourself on a physical level and for your health. So I like to get people away from weight specifically and start thinking about their health and their vitality. So what is it that you're doing every day that meets those requirements, that meets what it is that you say that you want for yourself? So if you say that you want this great lifestyle and you want great health and you want great vitality, what are you doing to get it? Is what you're doing matching what you say it is that you want for yourself? What happens when you open a diet book is that it's a one-size-fits-all. This is what you're going to be doing regardless of what your taste is, regardless of what your current lifestyle is like. So if you are picking up a book that is nothing like what you're currently doing, the sustainability of that particular diet is going to be, non-existent really. It's going to be a struggle. You're going to hate it, and anything that we hate, most likely we're not going to continue doing. Finding something that you can stick with today, tomorrow, and the rest of your life. And the same applies to fitness. Whatever you're doing today with fitness, you want to be able to do 20 years from now. So you need to fall in and find something that is comfortable for you. Have this ideal of what they want to look like without really understanding the consequences of, if I push my body that much, that hard, can I sustain that? Can I sustain what I'm asking of my body physically for the rest of my life? If you can get as clean a diet as possible, and that includes, the meats that you're consuming, the vegetables that you're consuming. I mean, for me, what happens is, those things, yes, they cost a little bit more, but what happens is, I feel that when the cost is a little bit higher, we tend to be more conscious of how much we're consuming. So if you find a big package of meat that's on value sale someplace, we have a tendency of getting more of it and eating and consuming more of it because it's cheap, as opposed to being a little bit more aware and conscious of what we're eating, pay maybe a little bit more, and end up consuming less. It's not for me to say what you should or shouldn't be purchasing and keeping in your home. It's just food for thought. So yes, you can cook a hamburger and you could put it on a great whole grain bun, one that would go bad if it sat out in 2 days. There's nothing better to me than how you feel. And when you start making those choices that really make you feel good about yourself, not only just physically, but you feel good about the choices, our life seems to kind of change and shift. We walk around a little bit differently. We feel better, and that's a powerful thing. When your health is good, when you feel good about the choices that you're making, you have to take care of yourself. And nobody else is going to do it for you. You're ultimately responsible. You could have a spouse or a friend or somebody who wants to help you, but ultimately you're the only one that can help yourself. You're the only one making all the decisions for yourself, all the choices. You're the only one that's truly with yourself the entire time. You're the one that has to have the accountability to self and say, this is what I want for myself. It's that ideal, it's that high-mindedness, that ideal of self-respect. How much do I respect myself? And what choices do I make that reflect how I feel about myself? Because that's ultimately what it is. Anytime that you're making a transitional change, whenever you're trying to do better with your lifestyle, I think it's important to remember that it doesn't have to happen all at once, and it shouldn't happen all at once. Because that's when you get to a point where it's really not sustainable. When you're making these drastic changes and it feels so overwhelming, I think that it's important to say, okay, listen, if I'm drinking 4 sodas in a day, could I go to 3? Could I just change and do 3 sodas a day and only do that? And then say, okay, that wasn't so bad. Maybe can I do 2 sodas a day? Could I do 2 sodas a day and maybe start getting like a seltzer water? It takes being mindful of the choices that we're making. It takes allowing yourself to be present and part of your own life and saying, okay, hey, let me look at what I'm doing. First of all, you gotta look at what you're doing. What is it that I'm doing? I know a lot of moms who will feed their children and do things, and they're picking at their kids' food while they're preparing stuff, and they're not even considering those. Those calories count. I mean, they're part of, it's not like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Just because you're preparing that food for your kid doesn't mean that you're not consuming those calories. It's happening. There are people that tell me, oh, I eat really well. Do you really? Do you really eat really well? Because if you're not losing weight, and you really are saying that you're doing all of these things, then you really need to see a doctor because there's an underlying medical issue. If you have an opportunity to change your lifestyle, if you have an opportunity to take control of your health, to do it on your own in a natural way, don't you think that that would be better? Don't you feel that you would feel better if you started to eat a little bit differently? If you started to be more mindful of the choices that you were making? It makes a huge, huge difference. Wouldn't it be nice to save the money and not have to take certain things? Wouldn't it be great, unless you're planning on taking protein powder for the rest of your life, wouldn't it make more sense to try to get the protein that you want from the foods that you're eating? Always little areas that we can do better.
I can do better, yes.
So that's, if you really, and to me it is about finding that balance. It is about saying, okay, this hazelnut cream to me is worth it. I really thoroughly enjoy it. So is there something that maybe I don't enjoy as much, maybe I don't need? Maybe that's 1 cup of milk that you take out.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? We make things so much more complex than they need to be. And I just think that if we allowed people to start eating naturally and to really start listening to their bodies and stop giving so much conflicting information and telling us to take this product and to introduce acai berries and take goji berries and do this and do that. One, you're spending a fortune on a million things. I could probably look at Dr. Oz's TV, the people that watch him, look in their cabinets, and there's probably 1 million bottles of things that are half used, and as soon as they get into one thing, they're doing some other thing, and then you're taking 1 million products. You're spending a fortune on this stuff. Spend money on good food. Spend money on good food and eat and be satisfied and listen to whether or not you're hungry and pay attention to how your body feels when you're eating, and don't worry about what today's fat-burning thing. I mean, to me, there's no such thing as fat-burning foods. And, grapefruit. How many grapefruits do you need to eat to burn a pound?
I remember that one.
And it all comes back. The cabbage diet, really? How much cabbage? Cabbage. And I mean, the juice diets. Drink nothing but liquids for 3 days and then have
17-day diet.
Oh my God, come on. Do you know how many books I have purchased over the years to investigate, to read, to try to do these things, to give people my honest input? It's insane. I still have all of these books, and sometimes I bring them in. When I do certain, I will dump them. This high of books, talking about the next best thing and how to lose weight.
And how do you feel about Oprah? If Oprah can't do it,
Oprah can do it. Oprah hasn't eaten her monkey. That's her problem. I'm telling you, her issue is she has not gotten the monkey off of her back.
but how do you make it part of your life?
You have to keep doing it. The only way that you could really make it a part of your life is if you keep doing it, until it becomes a habit for you. And part of it is finding what you like to do. So if the exercise that you're doing you dread, maybe that's not the exercise for you. Maybe you need to go do a Zumba class where you got the energy and the music and it's fun for you. Or maybe all you need to do is go for a walk. or go for a bike ride, or do things that you enjoy to do. That it's not like, oh my God, I gotta get in the pool, I gotta do, you know.
Oh, I like the pool. I
Well,
love
then,
the pool.
so-
But it's the other days that I don't do anything.
It's a matter of, one, determining what's important to you. If your overall health is important enough to you, then you'll do it, even when you don't. That's the third component. So for me, there's desire, action, and focus. The first component is deciding what you ultimately want for yourself. Really, what do you want for yourself? What is most important? So if your health is important to you, if that vitality is important to you, that is desire. There's an action plan that's necessary in order to get it. Just as if you wanted to be a doctor, there's a particular curriculum that is necessary in order to become a doctor. Just as a business plan with any company that you wanted to start.
It's like a job too.
You are creating a business plan for yourself. That's what it is. You are a business. You are your own business. Find your own business. And you have to. So there is an action plan that's necessary. Part of that action plan is, doing some form of exercise, eating in a way that's mindful. All of those things are part of what will get you to what it is that you want. The last component is where most people fall off, which is focus. And the focus part of it is, even when you don't feel like doing it, you do it anyway, because what you want is the most important thing. And there's no escaping that. If there's something that you want for yourself, and even if you don't particularly like it at the time, you have to do it if you want that end result. And if you don't want what you say you want badly enough. And that's the truth. Because if you wanted it, you would do it. You would do it. And then you will find the enjoyment in it. And sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it could take a year. And it's the same when I talk about if you have gained weight. Nobody gains weight over a two-week period of time. What makes you think you're going to take it all off in a 2-week period of time? What makes you think that your life is going to be completely altered in a short period of time? You smoked for 40 years.
40 years.
40 years. You have years and years and years of ingrained behavior, of habits that have become, even if they're not habits that you're proud of, have become a part of who you are. It's not going to change overnight. It's not. And to have that expectation is unrealistic. Even for somebody who's younger, which is where I say, if you can start when you're younger, if you can start to get those habits, you are ahead of the game. And it really takes one generation to change future generations. I don't care what your age, to be mindful and to be in control of that, that's an incredible thing. To be able to know that we as individuals, to know as human beings, we always, no matter what our age is, have the ability to do things differently. We have the ability to change. We have the ability, if we want it enough, to do it differently and to get a different result. And you have to truly believe that. You have to truly believe that you're capable of doing differently. And part of it is the conversation that you have with yourself. So if you keep talking about hating it and not liking it, chances are you're never going to like it.
Yeah.
So part of it is saying, I'm ready, I got this, I'm doing this, I like this thing, I'm changing my body, I feel better, I'm good, and then suddenly it does start to kind of change. So you're doing it. You're not trying, you're doing it. There's no try, baby. There's no try. You either do it or you don't.